Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast. Today, we have a popular Twitter personality joining us, Russo from Russo, who actually has a 9-to-5 and does around 20K a month profit with Amazon arbitrage, getting some wholesale in there too and everything. So thanks for joining us, man.
You're very welcome. I'm very excited to be here. Long overdue.
Completely agree. 2
excited.
episodes we're doing today. Yeah, man, absolutely. So I've been following you on Twitter, I think for like 3 years right there. So, and I know you have, a background that transcends purely just Amazon flipping. So you want to talk us through, kind of your origin story, how'd you get into it, everything like that.
Sure. So going way back, I've always had this itch for like a side hustle, extra money. I used to have a lawn business growing up, as most of us probably did at some point. So from there, worked a normal job, went to school. After that was doing YouTube, ended up streaming on Twitch a couple years ago. If you guys are familiar with that, grinded that out similar to Amazon, became partner, kind of, was middle of the road there. Ended up meeting somebody there who found Money Twitter. He runs his own program now, had a chat with me, brought me over in the first like 3 days on Money Twitter. I swear I was so motivated. I was like, I'm going to write a book on how to grow on Twitter. Like I'm going to write an ebook. This is it. I'm going to quit my job. And within like 3 days, I got some girl messaging me if I wanted to join Products for Profit, thinking it's a scam. So signed up for that. She paid my first month. And then this is literally where I am. I think October will be 3 years on Amazon. So it's been a hell of a journey, 100% worth it. And that's where we are today.
Yeah, because especially doing that part-time too, and the numbers you've done are very impressive. And that's like, that's the big excuse people love using. It's like, okay, like I want to not have a job in the future, but I currently have a job now. So that for some people, that weirdly qualifies that they have no time the rest of the day to do anything. Crazy, right? Right there.
It's funny. I saw I think it was Max tweeted today that he has a 9-to-5. He's taking classes for his MBA, and he's also running Amazon.
I know you've done that too. Yeah, it's like you'll make time for what's important right there. And do you want to kind of talk through the trajectory, because you obviously didn't hit big numbers immediately, but like 2020, sure. 2021, 2022, all that.
Yeah, so literally day one, I remember it vividly. I'm blurred behind me because this room is a disaster, and it's kind of like an homage to my growth in my, past 3 years and where I've come from. So went out one day, decided to do this, took my fiance, drove around to probably 3 or 4 Walmarts. I remember buying Paw Patrol toys, LOL surprise dolls. I think every single one of those got returned to the store. Didn't understand fees, didn't understand how to ship into Amazon, brought them all upstairs, lined them up. So did that, kind of caught my ground. I thankfully caught the back end of the wave. All the weights that everybody's doing, the weights in the pools. Obviously that was competitive. You have people from like sneaker, Twitter, and cards and stuff like that competing. They kind of have a little bit of a different hustle than your everyday Amazon seller. So that kind of overlapped. I was able to get a little bit of cash flow from that. And just eventually grinding, surrounding myself with like-minded people. I've been in a couple of groups. Obviously, I mentioned Products for Profit. I'm in a couple different groups, which really helps me out. Unlike, I know you're down in Miami, Miles, but I'm not really surrounded by people who have the same mentality as me. I still have my high school friends, my family. A lot of people don't understand this. We were just talking about this. I live in an apartment too, so I could talk about all day about how there should be no excuses for people not being able to pump numbers, and you really get what you want out of this and how much effort you put into it. So, but I'm not surrounded by those types of people. They don't understand what I'm doing. They don't understand the work, ethic. Everybody wants to do Amazon until they realize how much work it actually involves. And obviously that's dependent on your systems and what you put in place personally. But right now I'm a one-man band. I just have my dad helping me. So that's kind of how I've scaled up over the years. And I've just learned different tactics, learned different things. You'll understand that bolos come and go. And you'll understand when to go deep, when not to go deep. You'll 1000% make mistakes. All the stuff behind me, like I mentioned before, it's all pretty much garbage. That we've all had at some point, we've all made bad buys. So that's kind of been the trajectory for me. Obviously didn't start out where I am. Doing 100K months right now, roughly between probably 18 and 22% margin. Some months a little higher, up to 25. So yeah, just depending on the product, how deep and effort. And my number one goal right now is probably hit 200K and do 40,000 in profit in a single month. So
yeah, that'll be easy in December with the infrastructure you got in place. Easy if you FBM. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's kind of funny you bring up FBM. I've been noticing with the back to school stuff. I think FBM is a great play because you get the overnights and the expedited shipping, and obviously you're churning your money a little bit faster. But FBA has been putting up a really good fight this back to school season.
Well,
the buy
East
box
Coast,
is like,
you're lucky.
Yeah.
East Coast, yeah.
Dude, the buy box is like $8 to $12 higher FBA for some of these back to school items. I'm not going to mention any names, but the guys who got in early are absolutely killing it, and definitely taking some notes for next year to get in early. Make sure get those orders in and get them locked and loaded for the school season. But yeah, hopefully I answered the question. But it's been a journey. Every day is a new, it's just a new story. So
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot to unpack there.
yes.
But one thing that's apparent based on like the macro level overview that you gave is the fact that you got going pretty quickly and effectively and thoroughly, right? I think that's one of the big differentiators between a lot of the people that end up sitting on the sidelines for a while. And I want your opinion on why you think that is. Like, what differentiates you being someone who took action, jumped in quickly and effectively and thoroughly, as opposed to other people who maybe took a slower approach? Is it like a inherent quality? Is it a risk aversion sort of thing? Is it maybe money available? In your opinion, what do you think differentiates the different types of people who take action?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things here, so I'll try to unpack what I can. So I think for me specifically, I've always had this itch to do something out of the norm. I've been working a 9 to 5 now. So similar, like you mentioned, Max, today, I also did my MBA. I finished last May. So I was doing MBA, Amazon, full-time work, 9 to 5, relationship, life, friends, et cetera. Still found time to do this, right? And I think what it really comes down to is your whys. Why do you do this, right? I got a wedding coming up. I want to buy a house. I have financial goals, not because money is everything, but it just makes it easier. And I want to provide for the people in my life. I want to give back to my parents, my fiance, take care of my dog, my eventual kids, right? So that type of stuff reminds me when I'm pumping stuff in the warehouse, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that sort of stuff. It's like, all right, one more box, right? One more box. So I don't necessarily recommend what I did in terms of starting fast. I think I've always been like a hard worker. I have a crazy work ethic. When I want to do things I want to do, and this is obviously one of them I do want to do. But at the end of the day, what drives me is like, I don't want to be that normal 9 to 5. I'm starting to notice, especially over the last 3 years, I can't picture myself being there for another 40 years. Right. So I ask myself almost every single day, and there's certain reasons, and I've discussed this before with a lot of people, why I can't leave or why I've chosen not to leave my 9 to 5 yet at this point. But I always ask myself, like, am I going to look back when I'm 60 or 70 years old and ask, what if I bet on myself? Like, what if I never did that? And, the thing is, I have investments, I have stuff I can sell. I've learned a skill. My sister actually went the entrepreneurship route. My parents, didn't understand that at first. They didn't understand Amazon. I'll be okay. I'll have a roof over my head. I'll be able to feed my family. And I've already proven to myself with the chaotic systems that I barely have in place to begin with, that I can do it and it's possible. And I also believe like these skills can translate to other things in life. It's not just Amazon, right? It's networking, it's sales, it's how you present yourself. It's learning, one of my friends was talking about, he's like, if Amazon doesn't work out, you can start a distribution place, start calling suppliers or start calling companies and say, hey, we want to be a distributor for you, and then you're on the front end of Amazon as opposed to the back end. So there's so many ways where this can go. But eventually, I just want to create, and I'm not even going to call it like a time escape. Like I'll probably end up working 12 to 14 hour days when I'm, when I do decide to leave my 9 to 5. But I know I'm a little bit long-winded, Garrett, so I apologize. But
no, we appreciate it. That's the whole point of a podcast.
I can talk forever, guys. Trust me. So
you're the star of the show. We're good.
At the end of the day, it's like I said, it's your whys. How bad do you want it? What do you actually want out of it? I mean, I've pitched so many people on Amazon, and it could be anywhere from, hey, I want to, pay my phone bill every month, or I want to buy a little bit of extra groceries, or, hey, we want to go on a vacation once a year. Let's make an extra 10 grand. I don't think making $1,000 on Amazon over, a month is that difficult to do once you actually know the systems. And I don't know if I can swear on this, but shit, dude, like you could have made 20 grand this month back to school and called it a year. There's guys who, go all in Q4, all in back to school, all in, Easter candy, and they'll probably make 20 to 40K in a month and call it a year, and that's just what they do.
Funny. This is something that Miles and I joke about a couple times.
The Q4 hibernation.
Yeah.
Like if that would be a like really easy way, like, especially because once you learn the skill, you don't really lose it. Right. Or you know what I mean? Sure. You got to, kind of keep going. Right. But like it stacks on top of itself. Like first I learned to, like, I would make content about Legos back in the day. Then I learned to resell stuff. Then I made content about reselling stuff. Then we partnered up with an app, a software tool for resellers that I can make content of. And it's like, you learn these different things and they kind of combined. And it's pretty cool to, be able to do that. And as such, like now, right, the stuff you learned on Twitch back in the day, building your personal brand on Twitter has helped you meet a lot of Amazon people. That's helped you get a lot better at Amazon stuff, right? And it's, going to potentially introduce you to, further opportunities down the line. And so can you kind of give us a sense of how your current operation works? Virtual assistants, prep center. I know you have a warehouse. I know you have some controversial opinions that I agree with a lot of about some of this stuff too. So let's jam on it.
I'm very passionate. Dude, we could have an entire episode on this, and I'm welcome. I'm coming back. Trust me. But so as much as somebody doesn't want to believe it, it's just me. I'm a one-man band. It's just me. I work my 9 to 5 every morning. I have an 8 o'clock meeting every morning. I'm off by 5, and then it's go time. Usually I'm loading my truck off to the warehouse, whatever I might be doing. Some nights I might RA. There's literally nights I go RA, I come home, prep everything, and it's out literally within 12 hours. That's just kind of how it works and how it operates. So I currently have 3 storage units, which a little bit regretful about, but much needed for space. I recently moved into a warehouse space about 4 months ago. It's about 1,000 square feet. I thought it was a lot bigger than it actually was, but once you actually start buying a lot of shit, you realize it's not at all. And again, depends on your model, right? Some people are buying stuff, it's going in and out. Other people are holding stuff. Other people, you might buy 500, but slowly trickle stuff in. So you're not paying Amazon fees. So it really just depends on your model. That's kind of how I'm working. I'm operating out of an apartment. So before all the storage and everything like that, I was carrying stuff upstairs, prepping in my living room, bringing it down to the car, driving to UPS. I don't do UPS pickups like everybody brags about. My mailman comes to my door every single day. He texts me that he's here. So, I mean, I'm a little bit old school and, compared to everybody else's systems, but it's really just, I jokingly say it's brute force and hard work. And, eventually I'll refine those, but, and long story short, no VAs, have a prep center. Pricing doesn't make any sense for kind of the model I'm working with right now. It's just too expensive. So probably we'll get rid of them. My dad does help me. My dad's retired. He got sick a few years ago. And he's handicapped now. So I give him some stuff to do and he thoroughly enjoys that. But yeah, other than that, it's just me pumping stuff out.
Yeah, that's like exactly how we were, Garrett, you and I. And I mean, even like, as short as 6 months ago and such, right? Yeah, like back in the day, like, Garrett, for those of you guys, maybe who, haven't been around a little while, Garrett used to live in the warehouse we had actually for anyone listening right there, which was, and I mean, I almost slept in there one night. And then there's a whole lot of stories with that, but yeah, like, dude, doing the basics,
all good laughs.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. Doing the basics is like what works, period. Right. And exactly. You're making the money a lot of people want to make without the fluff that a lot of people want to include. Like, I just hate how quick people are to want to delegate stuff when they haven't even learned the skill or haven't even gotten any results. Like, and I'm very well financially minded, right? So I want to get the bag by any means necessary. It sounds like you were the same way on that, but we also got to consider some people aren't looking for that. Right. Some people are okay with it taking a little bit longer, but then there's the argument, are they delusional about how long it's going to take if they go the delegation route? I mean, if you're these people who want to go prep center from the get-go, I'm like, you're not going to sell an item for 5 weeks at the very soonest.
Well, probably, it's not even that,
right?
It's that absolutely. I 100% agree with that, but there's so many more issues that nobody wants to talk about, like on Twitter. And I've wanted to tweet something about this for so long, but I've had so many instances. I'll just use shoes as an example, right? So my prep center charges $4.25 for a pair of shoes.
Oh, that's you can't even do that. Yeah,
exactly. So in order for that to even make sense, and by the way, this is not a dig at my prep center. They're phenomenal. I think that's just their way to guard against shoes, right? Because they don't want to deal with them. So, they charge you to peel stickers. They charge you to put a rubber band on the box. They charge you to look at everything. Not only that, but let's say, everybody shops at Kohl's. Kohl's is a wild card. You might get a size 8.5 when you ordered a 9. You might get a black when you ordered a white. If your prep center is all the way across the country, that's a whole nother hurdle you have to deal with about returns and how you manage that. And a lot of these retailers are cracking down. They're not just giving you money back. They're not like Amazon where you can go claim you don't want an item anymore and they just refund you $300. Kohl's will send a return label and, your prep center might charge you for shipping that out, or you might not even get that. Then I have to pay for shipping from Oregon to the East Coast to get my package back to then go return it. So now I'm $50 deep on a 50-pound package because Kohl's or another retailer screwed up. So nobody talks about these things, going full prep center and how they manage that and deal with that. So it's not all like, flowers and daisies with prep centers. Yes, you don't have to you can delegate your work, but I'm also a firm believer, like you mentioned, Miles, you need to put the work in and understand what goes into prepping, how products should be prepped, how you can fit stuff into boxes, how the whole process works. I'm very lucky also. I ship into New Jersey. They're phenomenal. My boxes literally get there overnight. They check in immediately. I had a prep center out in the Midwest and it took ages. And we all know IND2 with sneakers. I did sneakers back in the day. That place is an abyss. So I never had to ship there being on the East Coast, but them being in the Midwest, stuff went there all the time. So not everything's like perfect. Like, oh yeah, I got a prep center. It's time to scale, to Chad buy or whatever people say. Like, that's just not how it works. And most people are too afraid to tell you that because they want to brag about how, oh, I'm delegating and, I'm out on the beach, while my VA is sourcing this and that. It's like, if you don't know how to find an item, if you don't know how to, analyze a sale, if you don't know how to buy stuff, your VA isn't going to either. You can only have so much training. I know there's programs out there, but at the end of the day, you have to be the one to garner those skills. And that's it. A lot of these guys are training their VAs. They're making, I know you guys sell courses and stuff like that with videos. They're making videos. They have reference points. And it's all because you guys know that skill. You're not just, learning that from somebody or you're not just hiring people and they're magically finding you 20 leads a day into your inbox. You have to actually know how to do that. And I'm just a firm believer in that. Again, too.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm long-winded, man. I'm sorry. But,
no, keep going.
You have to understand, too, a lot of these guys starting on Amazon, and this is not a dig at anybody, but somebody doing 20 to 30K a month at 10% margins, I don't even know how you're surviving. You're making $3,000 a month before prep fees, before returns, before, any of these other fees. And then if you're full-time, you have to pull money out of the business to live. So what are you reinvesting back into your business every month? $200, $300, $500? You're never going to grow to the levels you want to be at. It's another reason why I work my 9 to 5. I can become very risk adverse because my 9 to 5 pays my bills every day. I have a roof over my head. I have air conditioning on. I have a fan on right now because at the end of the month, my 9 to 5 paycheck hits, they take the money out and I can go buy whatever I want and have an oh shit moment, but I'll be okay. Not everybody has that. So again, talking about jumping into everything immediately, you have to kind of take a step back, get yourself in place, learn a little bit first, and that's what I tell people too. People get caught up in Twitter, right? They see the bars, they see 800K months, 500K months, 400K Decembers. And that's what they want to do on month 2. You forget somebody like Miles has been doing this since like 2018, right? He didn't have a 400K December in 2018. He had it in 2022. That's 4 years, not 4 months. Like, you have to slow play it. And if you're struggling with cash flow, take $500, go buy a bunch of stuff, sell it, churn that money and just keep going. You don't need to run up these credit cards and get yourself into debt and loans and all this stuff. You're just kicking the can down the road, and I'm only preaching this because I was somebody who did that, right? I went out day one with a credit card and just started swiping. My credit score went down by 340 points. I had an 836 credit score and it just got destroyed, right? I'm still paying a loan back that I bought like Barbie dolls with 2 Christmases ago because Amazon in January decided they wanted to come in stock for an entire year, right? So these are like situations that I've been through that I can hopefully teach somebody else to like maybe think twice about it before they do it. Like, if you have a loan, you should really make sure that you have an action plan for that. Okay, what am I going to go buy? How fast does this actually sell? Yes, I can buy 1,000 pairs of these Nikes on sale, but only 20 of them sell a month. It's going to literally take me 50 months to sell through this, and my loan is due in 2 years, right? So you're some stuff just doesn't make logical sense. So again, don't get caught up in Twitter. run your own race, take it at your own pace, build your own business, network with the right people, and learn from them. You know, we've all been through this. We've all been soldiers on the battlefield before, and we're all here to teach people. I don't think anybody's scared to do that, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And there's also definitely an argument that when you don't outsource, you actually do get to move quicker, right? And that like, dude, I like attribute so much of like my progress back in the day, and that like, one, we were obviously working on that like all the time, but like there was so much stuff where like, dude, like that inventory is getting in today, it's listed 15 minutes. That thing's listed right there. Like I'm getting, if it's FEM, I'm moving that quick. And like those little increments of time, it's like you're talking about going out in RA and shipping it out the next day. Right? Compared to an OA purchase to a prep center, that might have saved you 7 to 10 days. And, you know, sure, it might not be the same product, but that compounded over like a year or two, you're actually learning a lot quicker. Right? Like I hate the argument of like, I want to use a prep center to save time from the beginning. It's you actually spend a hell of a lot more time if you're using a prep center, because you have to learn so much slower, in that you don't get feedback on how a purchase is for 3, 4, 5 weeks, when I can get you feedback on a purchase tomorrow from a Nike outlet FBM buy potentially.
Dude, I was waiting for you to bring this up, because this I'm gonna hit this one out of the park right here. So oh my god, I just lost my train of thought.
Hey, don't worry. We're here. We're not going anywhere. All
right, I know. It was something about, you were mentioning the prep center, and I lost my train of thought. It will come back to me, and I promise.
Compounding the small wins.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, dude, you could even list stuff. If you're doing RA, I hit, you know, shout out to SellerAmp, because I use it to scan. Miles didn't tell me to do that, by the way. But yeah, so I will literally list stuff in the store sometimes if I know I'm going to FBM
love it. Yeah.
And sometimes it'll sell by the time I get home. Sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, at least I'm putting that into the spreadsheet, you know, or putting it into my Amazon store.
Little micro optimizations, man. It makes all the difference. It's looking at the Keep a chart and not listing at the lowest price, intelligently looking where the buy box is going. It's getting your reprice. It's waiting to turn your repricer on. It might not be using a repricer on certain items where you can just hold it when there's new people with one stock hopping on that might trigger you. It's all those little micro optimizations, and kind of just giving a shit basically is like what really creates results, I would say.
And I just remembered, and Garrett, I think you may want to talk, but I just remember what I was going to say. So another hot take I have is, I see a lot of people delegating who, in my personal opinion, shouldn't. And the reason why I say this is because obviously a lot of people are very open about sharing on Twitter. I know, Miles, you've preached this a lot, to share kind of your journey and how you're doing on Amazon in general. It kind of allows you to create a network and allows for other people to connect with you who might be in a similar situation, et cetera. But what I think a lot of people miss is that the only reason you should be delegating is because your time is at max capacity. It shouldn't be because you want to go play basketball or you want to go out to sushi with your friends. You shouldn't be delegating to a prep center because you want to do that. I'm not, obviously, you know, you should get your exercise and hang out with your friends and actually maintain a life.
You're saying people shouldn't exercise, that they should just
I just started up the gym and I'm having my best 2 sales months ever. I think I don't even want to say this, but I'm at like 53K this month already. And
yes, sir.
I've barely done back to school stuff. So yeah. So anyway, my point being though, is a lot of people want to delegate, but then, you know, they're waking up at 10 a.m. and they're doing all this stuff. You should be maximizing your day. You should be totally worked to the point where you are to the point of exhaustion, or your schedule is completely booked, and then you can understand your systems, and then you can delegate from there. And then you should rank your tasks. What's the most important thing? What gives me the best ROI? How much money am I making from this? Am I making money from prepping, you know, $1 crayons for a month straight to make $1,000 next month because crayon bundles takes forever to prep? Probably not, right? Can you outsource that somehow? Can you get a college kid to help you for $15 an hour? What can you do? So you should be analyzing that. Your time is better used in front of a computer. Your time is better used sourcing something. It's not, you know, going out to sushi with your friends. You should be maximizing your time building your foundation. You cannot build a house before you build the foundation. That is the bottom line. And most people I see are trying to build this mansion before they even pour the concrete. And it's just not how it works. One thing that's super critical too is like, there's 2 types of businesses I see on Twitter. There's reselling and there's businesses, right? You guys just had Jonah on earlier. That man operates a business, right? He has systems in place. He has relationships. He builds. There's other guys, and I'm not knocking this, but they find a price error on Walmart and they buy 100 of them and they're like, oh, great, I made $5,000. that's awesome. That money is real. That cash flow is real, but that is not a business. That's not sustainable. You are just reselling. You're finding a hot product. Most of us are just finding inefficiencies in the market. You have to separate that, and you have to gradually move towards a business if you really want to make this something you want to do full time. So again, I see those two sides of things. I'm somewhere in the middle right now. Obviously, if I want to go full time, I need to move towards that business, getting better systems. I'm not necessarily, hiring employees or anything, but, creating wholesale relationships or things that I can, kind of count on, as opposed to, oh, cool, there's a sale on Kohl's right now. This is my one opportunity. And all of a sudden, all the orders cancel and I don't make any money next month because that's the only thing I knew how to source. Right. So I think there's, a separation. I think we all start off as, we're just flipping hot stuff. But eventually we should all move into like a business and progress that way. So.
But then on the delegation side of things, then the people listening to, people doing big numbers, they hear, oh, it's not a business if you have to work in it. And then there's the argument if you want to get that. So it's such a balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think people need to also understand that like scaling comes at a cost, right? Somebody like, I'm going to use Jonah because I'm very cool with Jonah, great guy, incredible seller. And you guys just had him on, so it's very relatable. But that man is responsible for people's paycheck. That man is responsible for people's lives. He is funding different things. He has so much overhead, right? He has a full out warehouse. Like, people don't understand scaling comes at a cost. Somebody who's doing $50K a month, making 20% margins out of their apartment has way less costs than somebody doing 10 million out of a warehouse that's costing them 20 grand a month and 7 employees, they're paying $18 an hour. And when they run the numbers, they're making 4% margins, right? So just because people are posting big numbers doesn't mean they're necessarily doing better. And again, scaling comes at a cost. There's other expenses, there's other stresses, there's other stuff that happens with that, right? So for me, like, why I choose to be a one-man business is I keep everything I get. Right. So versus a lot of people will make 10 grand and then it's 3 grand out to the prep center, a little bit out here, a couple returns, then I got to pay myself out because I'm full time. And before you know it, you're only putting 2 grand back into the business. And, over the course of 12 months, that's only 24 grand. And that's assuming you even make 10 grand every single month. Right. That's a whole nother discussion. So again, you got to just pick and choose your battles and what you want and how hard you want to work. And you can kind of go from there. So.
Sure. Yeah. So what are your plans for the future? Like, how are you either innovating or like, where do you want to be in a year or two? What do you see business-wise the situation being?
So next year I'm going to consider quitting my 9-to-5. Again, that'll come with a lot of discussion and consideration. I am fortunate. I'm getting married in December. So
during December though, we're going to be fulfilling FBM orders like at the thing. Like, I mean, these are conversations we need to be having, right?
My wedding payment is due on Black Friday. So I have a problem on my hands. So I'm trying to get enough cash so I can actually take advantage of the deals and stuff. So we'll see. But so next year, hopefully maybe considering quitting full time. Again, definitely want to bet on myself, but I want to be in the right, headspace. I want to be have enough cash flow. And then just kind of growing from there, right? Maybe getting a bigger warehouse space, developing wholesale relationships, having more consistency, right? And that's what I see with wholesale. I know wholesale's kind of been like a buzzword overall on Twitter recently, but it's more about having that relationship, being able to go spend money consistently, supporting somebody else's business, getting that influx of product to the door instead of relying on sales or price errors or coupons or what have you, where it's not as sustainable, right? So my outlook is just to keep pumping up. Like I said, I set a monetary goal, but the way I think of it is just continuing with my process. And I always preach, stick to the process and keep going. Don't think about, I want to make 40K this month. Think about, I'm going to go to my warehouse or I'm going to go in my garage and I'm going to prep 10 boxes tonight or 5 boxes tonight, or I'm going to put myself in front of a computer and source for 4 hours tonight. You can't necessarily equate that to profit. Sometimes you might ship, one item out that's worth $100, and other times you're shipping 100 items out that are worth $1 a piece. Right. So it's just, yeah. So, but in terms of me, I'm just going to keep trying to scale. I'm more about sustainability outside of the hot things, right? I know Q4 is big, back to school is big, but I want to make sure in April, I'm still having consistent months, right? I'm finding those products that are still relevant. People want to buy them. So that's like one of my goals, is to just kind of, everybody can capitalize on backpacks and shoes and, clothing and stuff for back to school, right? It's just being on top of the sales and having a network to do that. But can you sustain those numbers in April or May or other not so hot months, where, Amazon's kind of on a lull, right? So
At a very macro level, what's correlated sort of like the breakdown of your business in terms of wholesale, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage? Give us the breakdown.
Sure. So mainly started out RA, transitioned into a ton of OA. I'm probably like 95% OA at the moment. I will hit the occasional ollies, as most people already know that store, so I don't feel bad saying it. I will take advantage of that. Also, I have placed like 2 wholesale orders, I think, so far. I haven't really put myself deep into wholesale because of cash flow issues. So I'm trying to clean up my business at the moment. And what I mean by that is just buy stuff I know works. I know I can churn. And if it comes through my door, it's going out the door as well. It's not, oh, I can only fit 10 in a box and I bought 12. The other 2 are going to be pushed to the side and then sit in a corner.
Oh, that's
right?
That's so underrated. I could talk about that all day. Oh my gosh, that's so underrated.
So
yeah.
I'm trying to clean up my business and stick with, a bunch of ASINs that I know work and that I know I can kind of cycle my money a lot more faster. Because really I want to, combat wholesale. And I know you don't need 10 grand to go do it. You can probably place a $3,000 order, but I want to create those relationships and place, an order with them immediately and kind of garner that. So very little wholesale, a lot of OA. Where I'm based, I don't have the opportunity to RA, but I know some people are absolutely crushing RA. So definitely not going to knock on that. It's just not for me. I also work, right? So I'm not going to get in my car at 5 p.m. and, every Walmart or whatever store you want to source is 30 minutes away. I can hit like 3 Walmarts every day. And, I'm kind of walking into a crapshoot. I don't know what I'm going to find. So that's why I choose personally to do OA. I also think like if I'm going to spend 4 hours doing RA, I'm better off spending 4 hours in front of my computer and I can hit one banger maybe and change my entire trajectory of Amazon. If I find a consistent replenishable item that's incredible and it's like a low-key source or something where I just have the competitive edge, that could change the entire trajectory. And maybe I have to do that 10 times. Maybe I have to sit down for 4 hours at 10 times. But as long as I can find that one item, RA is just, I'm also in the mode of repetitiveness. I like to replen stuff if I can. RA offers that to an extent, but if you're like doing clearance stuff or, oh, I'm just going to check the clearance aisle and scan this. Oh, great. It's $10 into 30 and I make $10. That's awesome. But there's only like 5 of them there, Right. So anyway, a lot of OA, slowly transitioning into a little bit of wholesale. I'll never go probably full wholesale. It's always just too good.
Yeah, and OA it's like super easy where like the reason why people want to do wholesale in the first place is so they can spend money easily, right? And it's like when you get good at OA, you can do the same thing. You know what I mean? Exactly. It just kind of depends like how far you want to take it. It's like it's way easier to make 10 grand a month profit with OA, and like I sustainably, especially based on skill set, it makes no sense to even try to consistently make like 50 to 100K a month profit with OA. And then I mean, outside of the very, very rare case, like, dude, like your skill set translates so much better to wholesale at that point, or private label or whatever. Like, so I would say like, and you agree with that? Like easier to make 10K with OA, very, very difficult. Makes way more sense to go elsewhere beyond
Yeah, I think a major problem, again, I reference Twitter a lot because I'm on there. That's where I'm known. A lot of people don't understand that wholesale comes with its own issues. Normally you're pushing a lot of money out. You're on either terms or you have to pay, let's say you have to put a down payment because let's say you have to put half down. You might not see these items for 3 months or 2 months.
Yeah, there we go.
Right?
So leverage.
So your money is being tied up versus I can order something from Walmart and it's at my door tomorrow. I can prep that tomorrow night and it is off to Amazon the next day.
East Coast, baby, checked in within 3 days. TEB,
exactly.
AVP, Charlotte, all that.
Dude, it's New Jersey, man.
I was spinning right there too.
It's Florence, New Jersey, man. It's so good. But anyway, so my whole point is like wholesale is not the answer. OA is also not the answer. RA is not the answer. There's a mixture and something for everybody. I will agree with you, Miles. if websites cooperated,
it'd be OA would be
100K
easier.
OA.
Yeah, OA would be
Easily.
easier. Yeah. Wholesale wouldn't even exist for a lot of items. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If they cooperated, but obviously we know they don't, and it's almost getting harder these days. I was told that like you used to be able to place unlimited quantity on Kohl's and they never would cancel, and like you could just run, you could literally run it up years ago. And now it's like, people are getting banned left and right. We had a discussion, Kohl's Cash is getting swiped.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Like it's crazy like how far this has come. I'm always an advocate. I was saying like I wish you could almost apply to Kohl's as like a reseller and be like, hey, I'm a reseller. We will put an agreement in place. I will not return any product, but you will allow my orders to go through. And this will be a two-way, hey, I made a bad buy on these shoes. They're not returnable, right? You have an account as a reseller where Kohl's knows, because let's be real, they're still making money on their stuff.
Well,
right?
I think Kohl's is actually going under. I'm pretty sure Kohl's is going out of business.
I mean, they have to be, dude. They have to be. I mean, you walk into that store, their business model is trash. Like they put a pillow up for sale for $100 and they tell you it's on clearance for $20 when it's actually $10 at the store next door, the store next door.
Yeah, I think Sephora is like the only thing keeping them in business.
Yeah, do they own Sephora? Does Sephora own them?
I think it's a joint partnership. It's kind of like the Ulta with Target, I think.
Oh,
like, I think.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just exposure and probably like a joint thing. But yeah, it's just I've been hearing a lot more stories about that. So I think, I don't think OA deserves the crap it's getting. I think it's becoming a lot more difficult. I think there's a lot of factors, whether or not we want to talk about them on this podcast.
Well, yeah, I mean, more difficult for beginners, but it just keeps getting easier for us. You know what I mean? Because you keep finding new edges, your numbers keep growing, so it has to be. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the thing that remains
your leverage grows, and your individual skill set is gonna. Anyone listening who actually gives a shit, right, is gonna drastically outpace any macro trend. So like, there's certain personal responsibility. You have to understand that if you innovate, you will win. That's going to be hard, obviously.
I think you have to think about it too this way, right? Like you have to think about effort per unit and you have to think about what your expectations are. My baseline expectation for when I find something is 30% ROI. If I'm on a website and I go and check something and it's 20% ROI and I'm checking the numbers, whether it be like RevSeller, SellerAmp, whatever, because really, that's just a guesstimate, right? The best data you have is your own data. So if it sells 20 times a month and it's making me 20% ROI and that 20% ROI is $2, that item's almost not even worth it to me. You can sell those types of things all day long, right? There's tons of 10 to 20% ROI items scattered across Walmart, scattered across Target if you don't get banned, plenty of places. But what's the prep for that? Is it a bundle? Is it heavy? Is it difficult? Right? Like, is it really worth selling something for 10% ROI that you have to bundle 17 things together? My answer would be personally no, but there are people happy with 10% ROI and just churning money over and over, right? So I get a little bit more selective and I might not find as much, but every item I'm selling, I'm making 30, 40, 50% ROI. So, I might only have to sell one item to make the same amount of money. You might have to sell 10, right? So again, I think it's your expectation. I think it's what you're looking for. And that's, everybody's individual business. What do you want out of it? How much work do you want to put in? A lot of these guys shipping to a prep center will take 5% margin because they don't touch the product, right? You're literally playing credit card points at that point. And, you're obviously walking a fine line with returns and damaged items and lost items, et cetera, but you're not touching the product. So you might want to take 5 or 10% margin, right? Versus if I'm in a warehouse sweating till 2 a.m. and packing everything and driving back and forth, I want my 20%. I want even higher than that, right? Because I'm physically putting the effort in. If you're clicking a couple buttons on the computer, your expectations are a lot different, right? So, yeah.
From a time diversification standpoint, how does your time relate as it spends to sourcing every day or every week as compared to
I'm curious on that too.
Prepping and working the warehouse and things like that?
Yeah. So, cash flow wise, it's been difficult, right? Because I'm in this. So when I started the incorrect way. And I would just like to put this out there for people. Like I said, get your cash flow under control. Don't go and spend 10 grand and get yourself into this hole. I've been digging out of a hole for 3 years now. I have been able to do it. But again, I can leverage a lot with my 9 to 5. I have money to pay my bills. I don't have to worry about that every month. I don't have to pull money out of the business. So in terms of like time management, I am lucky enough. I've been working from home from my 9 to 5 for the past 3-4 years. So, I will source during the day. A lot of the replens that I have when I have money to buy them, I will go deep on them. I have kind of adopted this model to try to put 1.5 months of stock in my store at all times. What this allows me to do is I buy a shitload at once, prep them all, get them in. That gives me like a 2 to 3 week span to get money from other items and to order them again. Mm-hmm. And this way I have a constant stock in my store. It's not written anywhere, but that gives, better buy box percentage. It gives you favorability in terms of pricing.
So underrated.
Not enough people talk about.
I am learning that, and I think
because you can't quantify it, and dudes haven't been doing it long enough to see it. Like I just murder people in the buy box on stuff because I've been on it for 3 years. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've been the victim of many murders. No, but in all seriousness, I think you have to like really gauge and analyze and like they are right. Like riches in the niches. Like focus on your products, understand them, get them in stock. Stop doing like. You have to take some risks sometimes. Stop doing these 10 to 12 item test buys.
Like, that's another huge thing, man. People have been around for years, just can't click 5-0.
I'm buying 300, because I just see a rank. I look at the, what I've done, and thankfully I have data. I've sold them in the past. I know how they move, and but anyway, time management. I'm getting off track. So I try to source during the day if I can. On the days where I don't have a lot of product coming in, I try to like get at my computer. I'm on my computer a lot, play a lot of video games. So it's just kind of been where I've been for the many, many, many years. But I'll sit down, I'll be up late night, I'll source, I'll try to find product if I have money. There's times when I like cash flow build up. I don't have like a set schedule where I'm like, okay, for these 2 hours, I'm going to source for this.
Yeah, you can't with OA it would be inefficient to do that with OA. Yeah,
exactly. So in terms of, you're talking about like when I go to the warehouse and stuff, my brain works better when shit is moving. So if my dad texts me, he'll prep some stuff for me and says, hey, all your stuff is ready, and I go pick up a bunch of stuff, mentally, I want that out the door the next day, right? I don't want that sitting there. It's not making me money. It's not doing anybody anything. Obviously, there's risk in like Amazon losing stuff, whatever. But it makes me feel better because I know I got 10 other OA orders or 20 other OA orders on the way, and I need that space. It also just makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something and moving the business forward, right? It's kind of that business dopamine, I guess. So prepping is variable, right? I'll go and sometimes I'll be there for 4 hours. I'll prep on a Sunday. I'll prep on a Saturday. I'll prep on a Friday night. It doesn't really matter. I'm in the moment right now, and this is where I think a lot of people need to be, is like, you just have to put in the work that is required.
Yeah, it needs doing. It needs fucking doing. The work needs doing.
Like, I hate to say it this way because I'm such like a nice guy, but everything changed for me when I told myself to stop being a little bitch. Like, I swear to God, dude, like I used to complain like, oh, my Walmarts don't have weights and people in my group are coming out with cartfuls, or, oh, my Walmarts don't have clearance Legos. Like, oh, wham, poor is me. No, dude, there is gold mines everywhere you look. You just have to go to the right fields. You just have to go to the right mines. You have to just find them. And the guy who walks to the first, field of gold and doesn't find anything, you don't give up. You just keep going. And you just have to like stop coming up with there's 1,000,001 excuses you can come up with, but you have to find your why. You just have to find your why. Why do you do it?
Point. Yeah. And I hate,
keep going.
It's like disgusting when people with like kids in college or even like, like they use some of these crutches, like a 9 to 5.
I am 30 years old, man.
Yeah. That's why you need to do it. Yeah.
I love my life right now. I have a wonderful fiance. I have great family. I'm so fortunate. I would trade anything in the world to have this skill set at 20 fucking years old, man. And sorry for swearing. I don't know if it's allowed, but I would trade anything in the world, man, to have been able to done this at 20 years old, because this is what I wanted at 20 years old. And maybe this was my journey. Maybe this was all part of it. I had to go through the 9 to 5. I had to realize how much I didn't want that. And I had to use that as a motivation to get where I am today. So I'm still thankful for that. But I would kill to be the age. I mean, I've seen 19-year-olds all over Twitter, 18-year-olds, like, even doing 30 to 50K months. I mean, these numbers are not light numbers, There's people, I've also seen people on Twitter celebrating. They do like $100 a day and they're ecstatic, So you have to keep things in perspective and understand, like, I used to be ecstatic when I did $100 back in the day too. And now I'm super hard on myself. And, I'm doing like, I think this month I'm like averaging 7K days, So it's just, I don't know, it's different. But anyway, so yeah, I would kill to be 20, man. I would just absolutely kill to be 20 again.
Yeah, and let that be your sign if you're listening, regardless of, you know, your age or situation, that you can do it and that you're not getting younger. And then if you're this late in the episode, you probably do. So you guys got to go trace your genes, man. What other mistakes, but if anything, beginners making, are we seeing on the timeline too often? Like talk to us as we finish up. We can see this is years of pent up frustration. We got to get this man on some other Amazon podcasts as
dude,
well.
I will literally do a live. I'll talk to you guys forever. I did when I was streaming on Twitch, man, I did like 10.
Oh, that's where it's
streams.
okay. Yeah.
I did.
That's
Yeah,
where
dude,
it comes
I
from.
made YouTube videos for like 8 years, man. I have channels out there. Nobody needs to know them. But yeah, I had channels out there. I used to talk for 24 hours straight, dude. So I could talk all day. But yeah, I really think, you know, a lot of people get caught up in Twitter. A lot of people get caught up in other people's numbers. At the end of the day, when you X out of that browser, their life does not affect yours. If you're happy, if you're satisfied, if you're doing what you want to do, you know, Miles, we had a discussion the other day about, you know, your goals and you know, Amazon is just a stepping stone. It's not necessarily the end all be all.
All of it is the retail arbitrage, the books. Like, it's tough to consider. You're not going to have to do that shit for 10 years.
I didn't do books. Like, I didn't do some of the
stuff. You're post-pandemic beginner. Lucky. Very lucky.
Exactly. But my whole point being is, like, your journey is not like somebody else's, you know? The biggest gripe I have on the timeline is just people not putting in the effort. You know, it's like, I made a tweet the other day that went like semi-viral in the community. And it's just like, the guy doing 10K a month has a VA, a prep center, you know, some guy working for them for $15 an hour. And then there's some dude in his Birkenstock sandals, you know, 10-year-old t-shirt and, you know, shorts that he got from Goodwill doing, you know, 500K months in a garage, you know, like that guy just has something that, you know, he has divisiveness. That is the Chad. Your Chad buying is not your VA or any of that crap that you had. Like, the Chad is like, you need to put the work in. You need to get there. You need to understand. Like, that's the biggest thing. You need to understand how this game works. Okay. You need to understand how you prep product, how you get stuff in. I actually, speaking of prep centers, my prep center was stealing stuff from multiple people and got caught numerous times doing it. So for all you guys who are, you know, oh, prep center this while you're on your beach or at your sushi date or playing basketball, you need to make sure that if you order 20 items, the 20 items are being shipped in, they're being accounted for, they're the right color, they're the right size, they're the right product, they're shipping them under the right ASIN. There's so many other things. If I make a mistake at my warehouse, I can fix it immediately. Oh shit, these shoes are white, not black. Put them to the side, go to Kohl's tomorrow, boom, return. Like, there is pros and cons to everything. You just have to decide your hard, right? What do you want to do? Do you want to sweat in a warehouse till 2 a.m.? where I can go return those items? I might not make as many mistakes. I have a little bit more flexibility because I'm controlling everything. Or do you want to, you know, deal with returns or wrong item sent? Or, you know, I just went through back to school stuff. The store didn't even ship half my shit, you know? So it's like, you know, then I got to go deal with customer service. And then they're like, oh, well, you can return it. There's just so much. So again, if you're young and you're listening to this, put the work in. Your friends aren't going to understand. Your family's not going to understand. Nobody understands this shit. This is the weirdest business model. You are just shelling out so much money. And that's another thing too. I was thinking about this today. Sorry. I'm talking
final tangent here, boys.
Yeah, literally final
tangent. Blaring my phone down to get over the gym right there.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Danny. But anyway, I was talking to the guy I was a few minutes late to this because I had like 70 Amazon packages delivered today. The guy's making $18 an hour. He is not getting paid for anything. You need to keep perspective. Okay. We are all very lucky even to have found this space and to have this opportunity and to even if you're a 19-year-old kid making $5,000 a month, you are an anomaly. You know, I know you live in Miami. I know you're surrounded by people like that. Some of you, there's also people in rural Ohio who might be listening to this, where their friends are working at Wendy's when they're 19 years old and they're making $15 an hour. So you are so fortunate to be here, and you need to realize that this is your time to grind. When you're 30 years old like me, you're thinking about kids, you're getting married. When you're 19 years old, the world is your oyster. You need to just get there and grind. You just need to do it. I can't tell you how to do it. Some people have it, some people don't. You just need to do it. You just have to go do it. And you know what? maybe you're not meant for this. Maybe you're just seeing the dollar signs and that's there's no get rich quick. There's no anything. You're seeing, Miles has been successful with courses and coaching. Same with Garrett. They have got here because of years of experience. Miles didn't show up yesterday and say, wow, I'm going to start a coaching program because I know everything. No, he ate shit for 4 years. He did his work. He put his work in. He didn't hire a VA on day one. He's got proof on his Twitter. He was flipping sneakers out of a dorm. You just have to do it. I can't stress it enough. You just have to do it. Some people have it, some people don't. I can't tell you otherwise.
That's what's up. Yeah.
I'm dropping bombs, dude. I'm dropping bombs, but
yes, sir. Cool, bro. Man. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Mind of Russo. O is a 0 or
nope.
No,
just, Mind of Russo.
O is an
happy to. Yes, O is an O. So
got you. Road to 6,000 followers, right? That you made your account, 3 years ago this month. Okay.
Yeah, I've been scaling a little bit back on posting because I've just been focused on the business.
Yeah, I get it.
Working a little bit, but I'll get back to it and stuff like that. But I seem to have the hot takes of the community.
Yes, sir. Yeah, bro. So go follow the man right there. Thanks for coming on, and thanks everyone for listening.
Of course, anytime. Thank you, guys.